You know her from Shaws of Sunset. You know she doesn't hold back.
I'm a little bit in the spotlight because I'm in the industry. We're in cancel culture. And, you can't say anything wrong these days. You cannot. You can't fuck up.
This is Genuinely Gigi.
Yeah. I would like to get right into it.
Right on.
I'm a no foreplay type of gal.
That's my favorite.
Is it really?
Totally. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Apparently we did do something because Buck stepped in and I got wet, literally. Hopefully it dries off and I don't have the Kylie Jenner lactating thing. Everybody, welcome Buck Angel to the show.
Right on.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's so cool that you reached out to me. You're awesome.
Thank you for saying that. Why do you think it's cool that I reached out?
Because not everybody does. I think sometimes they feel intimidated because of who I am and what I do, or, I'm kind of controversial in the whole trans scene.
Kinda. That's what makes me just always want to be best friends with someone. Always.
Thank you.
I did check out your Instagram. You are so interesting. Your mind works in mysterious ways that is just so enigmatic and intriguing that I had to bring you in because I want to learn more and I want the people out there who listen to learn more.
Thank you.
It's a big deal, bringing awareness, especially at a time like this. I think it's really important to do it the right way.
Thank you. That means a lot to me that you really see, it might not be your community or whatever, but that you see the importance of the we don't have conversation anymore.
No.
People are so weird about saying things that might offend or not be on the same side. I'm totally the opposite of that. I always have stood alone and I always will say what's on my mind. I'm not scared to say that.
So you said just a second ago that you were surprised I reached out to you because of who you are, what you are. And you said what you are. Can you explain? Because I don't like that you said what you are because you are a who. Okay, so explain to everyone who's watching and listening what you meant by that.
So I kind of meant a lot of things, but I think mostly what I meant is I'm a transsexual man. And so what that means is that I was born female. I'm a biological female who took testosterone. 30 years ago, I transitioned to live as a man. So I live as a man. I am not a man. I live as a man. I'm a biological female who, what we used to call sex change. So I sort of had a sex change to live and look like a man and walk the world that way because I had something called gender dysphoria. So with that, I've now we have a whole new trans.
Yes, we do. Ooh. It's become very fashionable almost.
On some level.
And it's leading and misleading in the same, token. But it's important to understand because I think people who don't understand the community and not just the community, people are in the community, I think are more bullies to transsexuals than people who are outside of it. I think everyone on the outside has a bit of a fear from a lack of knowledge. That's so we are afraid to approach it because we're in cancel culture and, you can't say anything wrong these days. You cannot. You can't fuck up.
I know.
I'm a little bit in the spotlight because I'm in the industry and it's just, I sweat every time I'm in this chair. Like, oh my God, did I say it wrong? I'm so. It's exhausting. I feel like we should be able to make a mistake out of pure interest of knowing what the right is.
That's right. And so also, how can you make, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut. No. How can you make an informed choice or a decision if you're not getting all sides of the equation? I mean, that's with lots of things. And so now people have put us in a position to fear what you just said, to say something because we might offend somebody. Right. But I don't care if I offend you.
Do you get offended easily?
No.
Why?
No.
Only because
I was in pornography. Okay. My career started in pornography.
It did it as a man or as a woman?
As a man.
Okay.
I created the genre of trans male pornography 22 years ago. Okay. Nobody even knew about a guy like me. So I went into porn, which again, that's a whole other conversation. Okay. People have issues
Definitely a whole other conversation that I want to have, especially because I have a sex toy company.
I know, thank you.
I want to know.
And then I got into the sex toy business. But that being said, I'm also in the business. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Anyway, my point being is because I have really done something that people hate more than they hate sex changes. They hate porn. Porn is like the evil of the world. Oh my God.
Everyone watches.
Everyone watches, but they will deny it. Right. So it made me have to grow thick skin. So I think on some level, because of being a pornographer, I had to grow this sort of thick skin to deal with all the hate. And it's the same thing that's happening today. So I have thick skin where it's just words. That
Well,
words
I have
don't
thick
hurt me.
skin. I have very thick skin as
Yeah.
well. But it doesn't mean I still don't get hurt.
Yeah, it takes a lot to hurt me. I'll be honest with
Okay.
you, because I'm so grounded in my transition.
Right.
I'm so grounded in who I am. I know who I am. I don't need your
You don't
validation.
need the validation.
No, I do not.
So why do you have to over exude that you are trans?
Right. That's
why
right.
do you do that?
Well, because I'm an activist in that space, I think,
Okay.
and that's why, because it really pertains to a lot of what I talk about in the world.
Yes.
And it's not just about being trans, it's
No.
about really finding who you are. That's really my message. My message comes through my transition,
Yes.
but I don't live in my transition, if that makes sense. I really try to show the world that I came from homelessness, drug addiction, cutting, suicide attempts. I mean, I could go on. And here I sit I'm 60 years old now.
Are you?
I'm 60. I can't even believe when
What
I
do
say
you
it. I'm like,
take?
is
What
that
are you drinking and taking?
weed?
Well, honey, hello. If anyone, I mean, I'm about to be 41 in a month. So, I
Amazing.
mean, good
Amazing.
doctors, and I do swear by cannabis.
But I do
swear
too. But
by
also, I can tell you're a happy person. I can
try.
tell.
But I am very similar to you. I have a very, very rough past.
Mhm.
I had identity issues. Mine were not gender. At an age, I did believe I might have gender issues because I'm such a tomboy and
Mhm.
I'm so alpha. And then I realized, no, I was born in the beginning of the 80s where feminism was a new thing. And I thought my mom was a lesbian only because she was always feminist this, feminist that, fuck men.
Right on.
So I felt like, yeah, I got to, I drive a Raptor, I'm very, so I did have identity issues, both with my culture, with my gender, and understanding who I was. I went through cutting. I got kicked out of 10 schools, arrested, drugs at the age of 11. So I did it all. Sorry. I did it all as well. And I was able to find myself throughout all of that somehow, where now my roots, like you, are very fucking deep.
Right on, my
It
friend.
hurts me still, though. When I read those comments and I was reading your
Yeah.
Instagram and I saw some of the things, I feel like you are constantly educating people, but it's almost like people are just sometimes assholes and testing just to see certain responses. And for some reason, it bothers me still. It bothers me that we live in a world, and I have a 2-year-old son. He has long hair. And I don't care, and he has very small features. So everyone thinks he's a girl. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when people say, why don't you cut his hair? It still bothers me.
But I have a 10-year-old son. Same thing. He has
Okay,
long
long
hair.
hair.
And people are like, and one time a kid thought he was a girl. He was coming up to play. And he said, oh, great. Here comes a girl. And my son, whose name is Jonah, turns around and goes, I'm a boy. But it didn't bother him. He laughed.
Does it bother you?
No, not at all. I'm all about gender stereotypes.
Why?
What I mean is I want to dismantle. It's all about what you
Yes,
just
it is.
said. Because you are a butch or masculine girl does not make you trans and does
Or a
not
lesbian.
make or a
Everyone thinks
lesbian.
I'm a lesbian. I'm not. I've never even been remotely sexual. Listen, I think women are so fucking gorgeous. God bless them. They are
Right
a
on.
work of art.
Right on.
But I've never been sexually turned on or aroused by a woman. I think it's more psychological why I am more, alpha. And I felt like, because I did grow up in a time frame and a mother and a father who had 2 girls to say, you can do everything a man can do.
Awesome.
It wasn't you can do anything in this world. It was you could do whatever a man can do.
Right.
Meaning, oh my God, if a man can do it, that must be a big achievement. So I started re-seeing that.
Yeah.
How did you, because we understand the medical side
That's right.
of what you've gone through. What about psychologically? Did you have to start thinking differently as a man, or was that already existing?
Well, it's really interesting you asked that. So as a child, I was very tomboy. I was a tomboy like you,
Okay.
blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And a lot of people grow out of it. And they, today they're saying if you're a tomboy, you must be a trans kid, which is so ridiculous and actually scary. So that being, it's scary. So that being said, I always felt this masculinity going into high school. I got teased because I was a very masculine girl. And I was a gay woman for a while. And I
Really?
did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
totally, because back in the day, remember, I'm 60.
Yeah.
So I'm talking the 70s and 80s where we didn't have any, we didn't
no.
talk about this. And to
No.
be a gay woman is also just as bad as everything else. So you had to
Yes.
I had to hide myself for so many years. It's all here. I've gone through 10 years of psychology or psychologist before I transitioned.
Before you have to.
And I was
Everyone
one of the
should.
first here in Los Angeles to do that 30 years ago
Yeah.
with no knowledge, no understanding of it. And that's what I want people to understand. It was life or death for me. At 30 years old, I transitioned and I could not live as a woman. As much as I tried to, I could not do it. And as an adult, 30 years old, I made that choice.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to understand. Children can't make that choice.
No. And I watched, you did a podcast, you were talking about that, about how young teenagers are going through, obviously, their identity issues, just like I went through,
Yep.
you went through, and they make a irrational decision that this is the new who I am and I need to transition. And then they start the hormones and they start,
Yep.
all the stuff. And then they're like, it was a phase.
Oh my God.
It was a phase.
Oh
So
my God.
when is an actual time for someone to know they're ready?
That's right. What a brilliant question that is.
Yeah, what is it?
Who knows?
Who knows? How did
right?
you?
How did I know?
How do you trust yourself?
That's
you
right.
know?
I went to a massive amount of therapy. And it's what I keep saying to everybody. You got to put these kids, you can't just give kids medicine. It's coming from their brain.
Of course.
Why are you not sending a kid to mental health care for years before you even touch? Why would we want to medicalize children? I'm medicalized for the rest of my life.
Right.
I have to shoot testosterone every week.
Yes.
I have to work out. I have to look this way. It's not natural.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that right there, because that is a very important thing for people like myself that don't understand the world that you live in
Yes,
daily.
That's right.
The every minute to minute kind of situation. You need to work out. Why? Does that make you feel more of a man?
My ultimate goal, and this is why we need to understand the trans community is not monolithic. We're not all the same. We come to it for different reasons.
Right.
Now there's a whole new trans community that says you don't even need to have gender dysphoria. You can say you're trans. And that's actually insulting to a person like me. I have a disorder.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very insulting. So that being said, I do all of this because it's how I want the world to see me. I can walk down the street. No one would ever think that I used to be a female person, ever. You can even get naked and I don't have a penis, right? Because I didn't get that surgery. I can even get naked and people are just like kind of weirded out. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
They don't even understand. So the point me is that I want to, what we call pass. I want to walk down the world. I want to be a man. I don't want to be a trans person. I don't live as a trans person. I live as a man. You see the difference? This is not an identity choice. This is an actual disorder, a medical disorder that I had to change myself to look at like a man so the world sees me. That's the difference between a transsexual person and a transgender person.
Transgender person.
Yes, totally different.
It's important for people to understand
Thank you.
because it's uncomfortable when we don't know these things and we are sitting with someone as yourself, Buck, and we just have so many questions and some people are afraid to ask. That's what I'm here to do. I do that on my podcast. I like to shake the table. I like to ask the questions that people are afraid to ask because honestly, without asking, you're judging.
That is so brilliant.
Right?
Actually, that's brilliant.
So we have to ask because that's
right.
the way we learn from the other person.
That's why I sit here. I'm willing to answer every question, even if some people in my community find it to be disrespectful. I'm like, how can a question be disrespectful? Most people are coming to the questions with respect. You're coming to me. It might be uncomfortable for some people, but I want to educate you. I want you to see me as this person so that now we can just move on and we never have to talk about it again. It's done.
Yeah. So you do like that to be a conversation starter?
100%.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
100%.
So you're very open. This is who I am. X, Y, Z. Ask me your questions. I'll answer, and then
let's move on, my friend. Let's smoke a joint and move on and have it. That's right. I just want the world to see me as a person, but because I've been put into this space because of the children, I would never be doing what I do and talking if I didn't see this upswing in young girls. It's not young boys; it's young girls. 4,000% upswing. 4,000. In transitioning young girls. These are girls under the age of 18.
Why is that? Is there
That's right.
What do you feel in your heart?
Social media. social
Extreme.
contagion.
Okay.
Because it became on a sort of cool thing to be trans.
Yes, it did. It became fashionably cool.
It became fashionably cool. It
like
did.
the Prius and the Tesla. It's just like everyone's doing it. You got to go get one. You know,
it's real.
Just, right?
But I'm laughing, but at the same time, I just feel, as a dad, who has a kid
Right.
who's in this age group where kids at 10 are coming home and telling their parents, I'm non-binary. I'm like, where are they getting this language from? And how does a kid know they're non-binary, right?
Well, let's talk about that
Yeah.
because we recently saw Demi Lovato all over the press. She's so famous, world famous.
Yep.
She came out as non-binary.
Yep.
And then she decided she wanted to change back.
That's right.
And this is all very new to me. So I don't know if there's like rules to, because so many people seem to be offended that are in the community.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand, first of all, I don't understand, why does it even need to be announced?
Thank
You're
you.
teaching me.
That's
right
right.
now. You're saying it's something I want someone to know so we can, move past it immediately. Someone like Demi, she needs to go to the press and just announce to the world, this is who I am. And then within the same year say, no, I am not.
Mm-hmm.
Is that leaving a bad and negative impression on the youth?
100%.
Okay.
And that's why I try to distance myself from that, because remember what I said earlier? These are identity choices. I did not choose this.
Right.
This is an actual disorder. And it's why we need to sort of distinguish the fact that some of these kids are identifying as non-binary or identifying as trans without doing this type of work, right? So they can immediately say, oh, never mind. I can't ever say never mind. And neither can a child that you start putting on medication. So this is why this conversation is important.
Yeah.
Those kids are identifying. Again, I don't care if you identify as a monkey. I really don't care.
It's
right?
like
It's
whatever
okay.
you want.
Because you can always go back to identifying as a human.
Unless you're Army Hammer and you're identifying as a cannibal, which not cool. So,
Hilarious.
yes, that's when we got an issue.
Right on. So Demi, I feel for her. I think, there's something going on there that we also have to look at. There's some mental illness stuff happening.
That is what I wanted to talk about. I think a lot of people that live in a little bit in a box assume that anyone who's trans must have psychological and mental health issues.
That's right.
They don't realize there is actually something physically going on inside your bodies.
That's right.
And there is a difference between those who do transition because of mental and psychological issues and those who genuinely were born with the dysphoria. Correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So Caitlyn
dysphoria
Jenner was Bruce Jenner. This is the same. It's gender dysphoria.
Yep, 100%.
And he always identified that he needed to be a woman.
That's right.
Now we had
But again,
Caitlyn.
he transitioned, or she transitioned at what age? 40 or 50 years old.
Yes.
Adult. Who cares?
Yes.
That's really how I feel. Anybody who is an adult and can make those, this is a life-changing.
It is.
Let's be honest here.
It is.
Life-changing. This is not, so now we have a huge upswing in kids and people, young people doing what I did and then detransitioning.
Yes.
Who have cut off their breasts, who have had hysterectomies at 18 years old. I'm sterilized from the testosterone. I could, you can't have babies.
So how did you have a child?
So my wife has the child. So
Okay.
she's a biological female. So
you guys used a donor.
So
sperm.
she already had the child when I met her. So I adopted him.
Oh, how amazing
Yeah, I
is
adopted him. I got so
that?
lucky. Yeah, and actually we're friends with the biological dad. So he's in the family too. It's three of us.
Oh, you guys have a perfect little
Oh,
family,
we
don't
are.
you?
People are jealous of us.
I am already jealous, and I used a donor. I thought that was the best way to go. No involvement.
That's right. No
My
involvement.
rules.
Because most of the time it doesn't work this way.
Yes, it does not.
But I
It
went
does
to
not.
him when I first met her and the kid, and I went to him and I said, let's talk, dude.
Yeah.
I respect you as the dad. You will always be his dad. There will never, ever, I will never take that space from you.
Yeah.
And so immediately me and him just hugged and we were like solid with each other. And that was important to me because again, that's, this kid needs his actual biological
Absolutely.
dad.
I mean, he needs any of his
That's
loving
right.
parents.
That's right.
Having a 10-year-old, you said he's 10 right
Yep,
now,
10.
right? This is a tough age for kids.
Yeah.
Especially I was born and raised in LA and I went to obviously school.
Mm-hmm.
10 is around the time where I began rebelling.
Yeah.
By the time I was 11, my drugs started. But it was a lot of constant bullying in school. I'm Persian, I'm hairier, so I had a mustache. I was smaller, I was a tomboy, so of course I was a boy, I was a man, I was flat-chested. So I was Middle Eastern, so I was a camel or, so it was just, things started happening at that age. And bullying becomes extremely deep. As a 10-year-old who has would I say stepfather? Is that
Yeah,
the
I'm a
correct term?
stepdad. Yeah.
Has a stepdad that is very open
Mhm.
about his journey.
Mhm.
Has he been teased? How is that for a child?
That's such a good question. Yeah, he got teased for his long hair. You know,
Yeah.
people are always saying things to him. You look like a girl. You look like and I'm always like, dude, don't let anyone ever tell you that. You know who you are. Boys can have long hair. You can even paint your fingernails as far as
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We
yeah.
could put on a skirt. I don't really care.
Yeah.
It still, it doesn't not make you a dude. So he only got teased for his hair, but he's so good. He's
That's
such a good kid. He doesn't care. Lets it roll off his
Yeah.
back. And I think because he sees me that same way on some
Same
level.
way.
You know, both of us, his mom too, we're like crazy. He calls us hippie parents.
Yeah. Hippie parents are the best.
We're always
Best.
I'm getting stoned in the house because I teach him about it. I said,
Yeah.
this is dad's medication.
Yes.
Because I want him to smell it when he gets older and he starts maybe wanting to, he's going to remember that smell as
Of course.
dad's medication.
Of course.
And not as a bad negative
No,
drug
exactly.
thing.
My sister has a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old, and obviously the 15-year-old, she knows I smoke pot. She's at the
Mhm.
age where, of course, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows the smell of it, but they have always known that I've always called it my medicine
That's right.
because of my medical health and because of the actual science on what this plant does for the body.
Thank you.
I am more than proud and happy to always call it a medicine.
Me too.
And I want my child to know that. My sister, I don't know why she's so uptight about it because she used to really smoke pot, but she keeps calling it a drug. She goes, no, I don't want my kids to think drugs are okay. I'm like, which drugs are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like, where's the drugs? I don't see any cocaine. Like,
Right on.
you know what? I didn't see it. You know what? So it's just, you're right. It's about the parenting. And I think it's very important to know because I have a
That's
lot of
right.
parents out there, mothers, fathers, grandparents who listen to
Mhm.
Genuinely Gigi. And it really is important how you structure your home
Oh, 100%.
and how you raise
Yes.
your children and what they see you do
That's right.
is all that they're going to do. It doesn't matter what you tell them to do. It's only what they see
That's
you
right.
doing.
That's so true, my friend. And
So
so
you just-
we really try to model that, you know,
Yeah.
just like that's why I tell him, don't you ever lie to me, ever. I don't care if you stole something,
bad
you
it
come and
is.
tell me
Right.
or how bad you think it is. So now I don't know if you know, but in the LA Unified School District, they're implementing these sort of things where kids don't have to tell their parents if they want to change their name or if they want to be a different gender at school. They don't
Oh.
have to tell the parents. So they go to school with this secret. I'm not even kidding. Look it up. It's actual real thing they're implementing in the my kid goes to a private school, but in the LA Unified School, they're literally saying telling the kid, if you are non-binary or you want to have different pronouns or you want to have a different name, we won't tell your parents if you don't want us to. So I'm like, that is teaching kids bad behavior. That is teaching kids to lie to their parents.
Yeah, it's teaching them that there's a reason to hide it. It must be something bad that
Right
you need
on.
to hide.
Right on.
I don't know,
Unbelievable.
unless they're trying to protect the kids from a hostile home environment.
But that is true. But how many hostile environments do you think there are compared to great environments?
True.
There's more
True.
great environments than there are hostile environments. But it's not the place of a school to take over a parent's
It's
rights.
obviously not
The
place,
parents,
no.
I mean, the teacher should be reporting.
Reporting to the parents.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Now we put a teacher in a position of power when we do stuff like that. That is
Interesting.
yeah, it's actually unbelievable that the LA school system is doing that. It's scary. It's scary
I'm
to
trying
me.
to figure out what logical sense it even makes.
Because what you just said,
Well-
they might have parents who don't want to affirm
That part,
them.
if that's the only part to
That's
it,
the only thing there's. I'm like, but come on, man. Some parents want to work through this.
Absolutely.
You know, they want to take their kid to a psychiatrist and talk about it and say, you know, there's a percentage of kids who you just let them be will desist, will grow
Yes.
out of being trans, will grow. Look, I'm
That's so
trans.
dangerous because it just teaches them to start secretly having sex with their
There you
soulmates
go.
because now they have a common, oh, captain, my captain situation going on.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Can you
that's
imagine?
just
It's-
so
it's-
reverse.
that's right. It's gonna
psychology.
trickle down.
Ugh.
It's going to trickle down to other crazy
Yeah.
things.
It's like the Catholic preacher's daughter is always the biggest slut.
That's so true.
Sorry. Sorry to the religion.
Well, it's real. I mean,
it is.
It's real.
It is, right?
It's no disrespect to the religion at all. It's actually real.
It is. Oh my gosh, it's so real.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
think we need to just figure out a way to make things acceptable because I don't And this is what I also don't understand. Like when the Black Lives Matter
Mhm.
situation happened,
Mhm.
before the point where all lives matter came
Mhm.
in as a negative,
Right.
my mentality has always been all lives matter. But I
Yeah.
didn't understand what it meant to the Black lives that
That's
I was
right.
saying this to.
Yeah.
It was diminishing
Yep.
them.
Yep.
So I don't want to diminish you when I say this. I just see you as another human being. I don't see a gender, and I don't know if that if it insults someone or not.
No, I think that's love. You have love in your heart. It means that you don't want me to be different. It means that you accept me as a human being on the face of this earth. That's what my whole message is. We cannot be pushing against people to do things that are not for them or not. You know, you have to let people find their space in the world, whatever that is, religion, sexuality, gender, whatever it is, right? So my point being is when you say stuff like that, it means you care, and it means all you want is the best for people like me. So no, and in no way, people get so insulted on the most insane stuff today.
Then what do the titles matter?
No, they don't.
If someone, for instance, to me again, I'm non-binary, I'm they, them, you know, and it becomes so pronounced.
That's right.
That you get scared. He, she, no, they, them. And then at that point, you don't even want to have the conversation anymore because you don't even know what you're doing or saying.
And that's the fault of those people.
So why title yourself?
Because it's a cool thing to be. I really believe non-binary. Remember, non-binary is not a disorder. I have to go to a doctor.
So if I considered you a man, would you be insulted?
No, I live as a man. It's an actual compliment. It's a compliment.
You keep saying you live as a man.
Right.
You don't call yourself a man.
So I live as a man because I want people to understand that I do not remove my biology. Okay, we're on a space now in the trans.
You don't want to insult women by saying.
I also don't want to insult people to say that I wasn't born female. I was born female.
You were born human.
I know, but it's really important part of the message because they're trying to dismantle this idea that biology is a social construct. No, you're an actual biological woman. All the guys here are biological men. We need to have biology in the picture in order for you to understand why I needed to do this. Right. I just needed for you to see me as a man in the world. And you do. Yeah. I did my job. Done. I'm done. But the fact that I have to sit here today and sit to all these places because I see children being put in the picture. The only reason I sit and I put my voice out there is because I care about kids. Yes. And I don't want kids to be put in a position where maybe in 5 years they're like, why did I just do that? Why did I remove my breasts? Why did I have a hysterectomy at 16? Now I can never have kids. It's not a joke. It's like people are just turning their head on this. And I'm like, I refuse to turn my back on this. I just believe this saved my life at 30 years old. Yeah. Remember, I made the choice at 30. Yes. I did not make the choice at 10.
That's a definite, I think, a prime age to have had experienced some parts of life, the fun part, and sort of come around to maybe see this feels right for me. Maybe this is who I am.
And I made the choice as an adult. And so now we're putting that choice on parents. Can you imagine if they said, well, guess what? Your kid is trans. And then what do? You start spinning out because they say if you don't transition your child, they're going to kill themselves. They say stuff like that. That's not true. They're putting parents in a position to, there's no other option when there is options. There's always options. Always.
There are always options.
Always.
And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back because Buck has so much to offer us.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back,
it felt suffocating. And that's when I thought, am I a lesbian? Am I trans? What's wrong with me?
Yes.
Everyone says, you haven't met the right one. Like, go fuck yourself with the right one. I want 10 of the right ones at the same time. So we were just talking about sex toys and we were talking about weed and getting involved in the weed business. We both have a very similar passion for cannabis.
Yes.
And all of the medicinal aspects of cannabis. How does it help you? Like, what are the medicinal aspects for you? I
have insane insomnia. Yeah. Like off the charts insomnia. So I'm sober 30 years, maybe more now, from alcohol and drugs. I was a crackhead.
30 years is a lot.
Ooh, it's a lot. I was an actual
crackhead?
Hardcore.
Pipe and everything?
Pipe. Homeless crackhead.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. That's why I'm just like, I enjoy my life now.
Oh my gosh. On Valentine's Day, I one time sent this to a guy. I said, you are the crack to my pipe.
That's so good.
I'm going to text you on Valentine's Day. Sorry. Okay. So you were, you're sober 30 years.
Yes.
And I got clean in 2005 from hard drugs.
Excellent.
And a lot of people don't understand when people who say we're sober smoke weed. So what does that mean to you to be sober and smoking weed?
So what happened was I started to use those damn sleeping pills.
Okay.
Pharmaceutical, right? Where everyone's okay with pharmaceutical, right? It's so I started oh my God, I did weird stuff in my sleep. I just like would wake up with food in my bed, like insane. I'm like, I don't like this.
Was it Seroquel? Because Seroquel did that to me.
I don't know which one.
With, like bones, chicken bones, peach seeds.
Totally.
I would have random things in my bed with me when I was taking sleeping pills.
Oh my God, no, it's horrible. So I was like, I can't do this. This feels like drugs to me.
Yeah.
So my dude friend is like, dude, try cannabis. I'm like, I can't do cannabis. It's a drug.
It's a drug.
Said that. And he's like, you're taking sleeping pills. I'm like, it totally connected. So that was it. It was on. I smoked a joint. I went to sleep for like ever. And I was like, cured. And ever since then, it's probably 8 or 9 years I've been using cannabis and I'm sober. So people call it California.
Sober, right? Yes.
But I don't care. I'm sober. I don't owe anybody anything. I'm sober in my own space, right? So I know I don't do crack or cocaine or any of the stuff I was totally hungry for. I don't even have a desire to do it. Yeah. No, so it's medication. Cannabis is a medication. It is.
I love cannabis. Obviously I have an autoimmune disease. So it's anti-inflammatory, which helps me significantly. But also I have to do weekly injections of chemotherapy, which that sort of fucks me up, for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then I do monthly infusions where I sit in the chair for a couple hours.
Wow, I'm sorry.
So for me, it's everything. And I'm a little fucking nutty, That's
why I like you.
I'm kooky. I had anger issues. I had a rough past. And again, I've been through therapy my whole life, which always was accommodating with medications. Some of the medications were having adverse effects on me, making me crazier, more hyper, eating in my sleep. And then my mom was like, my mom's very Eastern medicine. So she goes, I've done the research. The cannabis is the way to go.
I love your mom. No way.
So she found this amazing doctor in Santa Monica, Dr. Alan Frankel. He was a MD who had his license stripped from him because he was giving cannabis to his patients. But then cannabis became legalized in California. Unfortunately, Dr. Frankel just passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I was able to get a podcast with him before he passed. But he was my doctor for many years. And he broke down to me what this plant
that's right
really is.
That's right.
To 150 different aspects of this plant, not just what people think of THC. And now everyone thinks CBD is the cool
I know, it's hilarious.
Thing, right? Like, wait till you guys hear about CBGA.
That's right.
Okay, wait till you hear. So I see it in so many ways as amazing, and it just makes me a better, more content person.
Yes.
And it has a less than 9% addiction rate, so it's like, come on, you see that something is natural healing. It's much better than that little fucking pill you're taking.
But we're fighting against the pharmaceutical companies, right? That's why it's a mess.
That's why it's still
federally
illegal.
That's right. And that's why even California cannabis is a mess. I mean, all of it, to do it's so difficult. Like, it's just all up
38% tax.
Oh my God. It's insane. You can't even, it's so hard to keep a business afloat in this horrible, but they're so dumb. It's bad business. They could be making so much money. They're dumb. I mean, they're so stupid. The jobs they could create, the businesses they could create.
Well,
it's
you know what? Mexico is fully legalized in
That's
cannabis.
Right.
Interestingly, you cannot buy or sell in Mexico, but you can smoke weed.
Yep.
You got to imaginarily get it from a fake dealer. But that's how the cartel, obviously is working. But that's also how we get cannabis in our black market. So I feel like I'm a conspiracy theorist. So and I don't want anything to do CIA is going to come kill me in my sleep right now because I said something.
But it's true.
It's
just so you know.
So we were talking cannabis, and then we started talking about sex toys. So you were in porn, and then you got into the sex toy business, and I'm in the sex toy business now.
Awesome.
What was it like when you got into the sex toy business?
So when I did it, I created the first transgender sex toy in the world. So it never existed before.
What is
so
that?
It's called,
and why don't I have it on my
I know,
Intimately
I'm going to
Gigi?
send you one. So it's called the Buck Off. And
just stop right there. Shut the front door.
Right on. So
Fuck.
it's a stroker. It's a masturbator.
It has to be a stroker.
And it's a stroker for transgender men, right? So I can get a little graphic, but I'm not sure if it's very comfortable.
Did you mold your vagina?
So basically, the clitoris grows from the testosterone. So
does it?
yeah, it grows like a little baby penis. It's weird. It's actually so bizarre what happens to your body. And so this thing slips over the clitoris. So you're masturbating like a man. So it makes you feel like very masculine. And a lot of guys like me didn't masturbate because we're so weirded out by our bodies that I wanted to encourage masturbation by creating a product so you don't have to touch yourself. And it blew up. It became one of the fastest selling sex toys. I did that 5 years ago. And then from there, I just started creating more products. So I created cock rings and lubrication and all kinds of stuff specifically for the trans. But now I'm moving into the female market.
The female part.
Yeah. Yeah. So we should definitely talk about that because that's a beautiful market. And, the trans market's very small. But so I lived as a woman for half my life and now I live as a man. So
well, that's the thing. It's like so far I've only made toys for vaginas, I should say. Right. I don't want to say women, but it's vaginas.
No, you can say that. Yeah.
But I mean, someone was like, "Can men use?" I was like, "I guess it."
Of course they can.
Stimulate the rectum a bit.
That's right.
You could do right? But it's like, there's so many different humans out there that just desire differently. So that is incredible.
Thank you, friend. Yeah. So that just blew up for me. And then I just started, being in that market, which is amazing. I love creating and creating all kinds of cool products and just thinking ahead of, different types of bodies.
So innovative.
Thank you, friend. Yeah.
Progressive and thoughtful because you're seeing something that is beneficial to that can work for.
So it's more wellness. I like to call it a wellness product. So same with cannabis. To me, cannabis is wellness. They're all wellness. I'm putting them together to create, products for. And I think the female market is underrepresented a lot.
I was hoping to do that. So my ex-boyfriend, Dennis, a lot of people have seen Dennis on my podcast and, on social media. He's been in the sex industry for about 25 years.
Wow.
He started out in the porn industry. He was the largest porn production company in America, huge. Wow. And then, DVDs didn't exist anymore.
That's right.
He fell out. Now he's back and he's in the toy business. He has huge distribution.
Excellent.
So he has Pink Pussycat.
Oh,
He
yeah.
owns all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, listen, all I have is porn stars. You are a single mother. You are educated. You are relatable.
Excellent.
Why don't you reach out to a demographic of women that don't feel comfortable necessarily buying that box with the porn star on it?
That's right.
And, someone that's more of like, oh, she's a single mom. She
that's
gets
right.
it. Even though the toy might be the same, it's
doesn't
just
matter.
different. No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because you're marketing. They're going to trust you because you're.
Trust me.
I don't want to use the word normal, but you're just part of that. You're like them.
I am.
And that's why when I saw that you made a sex toys, I was like, I love you even more.
Thank you.
Because it's so important that a woman like you, who's not in the porn business, but is just saying, look, masturbation and pleasing ourselves is very important.
Yes. And I came out recently with being polyamorous. I never in my life, to me, I don't know if I'm insulting you. It felt like I was coming out of the closet when I identified with. I was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. I thought something was wrong with me my entire life. That there's something wrong with me that I can't be in these normal relationships. It felt suffocating. And that's when I thought, am I a lesbian? Am I trans? What's wrong with me?
Yes.
Everyone says, you haven't met the right one. Like, go fuck yourself with the right one. I want 10 of the right ones at the same time.
Oh my God, people are...
So me saying you can have a child on your own.
Yeah.
You can build your own relationship dynamic on your own.
Yep.
Why not just have orgasms on your own as well?
That's right. No, encouraging masturbation because as we know, women aren't taught that, your vagina is beautiful, sex is beautiful, please yourself before you please others. Women are taught the opposite of what men are taught. Yeah. So I just want to commend you. Thank you so much for doing that. It means a lot. No, it does. It means a lot to me because I am really pro sex and I think sex really helps people be. I'm a happy person because I have a lot of sex.
Yeah. I don't have any sex. I really don't. I just
But
use
you
intimately
masturbate.
GG. Yes, God bless my products. I haven't had sex in maybe over a year at this point.
You're gonna get a lot of calls now.
Before that was 3 years back.
Well, it's
I
okay
know,
though.
dude. I
No,
have
it's
fallen
okay.
off.
It's okay. It's actually
I'm
important.
I'm not getting attracted to men so easily
Mhm.
anymore. Like what is the word for those who are
You have high standards.
no, it's like it's a word. It's like something that you get sexually aroused by someone who's extremely intelligent.
Oh, intelligent, right? There is a word for that.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
a word. I forgot the word.
Yes,
I have
there
it's
is.
it's like niflable something.
Yes, I know
I'm
exactly.
very, very aroused by brains.
Intellect.
Very, like, I don't care
Yep.
what the person looks like. And I have not come across a smart person in a
That's
while.
saying a lot, really.
Maybe you and I can hang out a
Right
little
on,
bit.
totally.
Meet some of your friends. You can meet some of mine. Oh, you got someone. I can't introduce
You
to
can
any
hang
of
out.
mine.
Anytime. Of course, we're cool people. Are you kidding? If you know what I mean.
But thank you so much
Oh, thank
for
you.
being here. Where can the whole world find you, and where can someone, if they need some motivation from you,
Right
and
on.
to hear you talk, because you have a podcast, you do a lot of speaking, you do a lot of educational and informative speaking.
Yeah.
So where can everyone find you if they want to know
Oh,
more?
thank you. So I'm pretty much Buck Angel everywhere: Twitter, Instagram. I have my YouTube channel, Buck Angel, and I'm on the TikTok, but I'm not really liking it.
Don't get me started.
No,
I got
no.
kicked off like on the third day for some reason. I was just blowing weed smoke out of my mouth, and they banned me completely from TikTok.
It's
on my
for the
third day.
kids. I know. I have to tread lightly on there. But you're awesome. Thank you so much,
you,
and thanks for
Beth.
all you do and put out there.
I
It
would
means
love
a
to
lot.
have you back on, and maybe
Thank you.
you and I can co-host and have some guests together,
Oh,
because
be
you and I have
excellent.
a lot in common.
We do.
And it'd be very fun to continue
Beautiful.
conversations with you.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Should we go smoke a joint?
Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to Genuinely Gigi. Download new episodes every week. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And be sure to leave us a rating and review. And while you're at it, check out some of the other great shows available on Straw Hut Media.